welcome to episode 2 of the Hullenasian Chamber of Commerce podcast, which is too long, so we're just going to call it the Chamber of Secrets. I think that's a little bit easier and a little bit mysterious, and it's always good to have a bit of mystery. My name is Richard Askham. I will be your host for this episode, and my guest today, and I feel as though I should stand up in his presence because he is the president of the Hullenasian Chamber of Commerce and a lovely gentleman to boot. Kirk Akdemir, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Richard. You're very kind. Thank you.
It's lovely to see you. And the last time we met was backstage at the Business Awards at the Grimsby Auditorium.
Yes.
And you were just about to go on stage and say a few words to the assembled crowd. And I remember you saying it's not something that you're comfortable doing because obviously you're speaking in not your native language.
Well, yes. Not a lot of people realize that because I spent most of my adult life in this country. But I wasn't born here. I was born in Turkey. I came to the UK when I was 18. And funny enough, I was only going to stay for 6 months. And that was back in 1981.
Okay. Yeah, well, that was a good year, 1981. I remember it well. Well, it's lovely to have you here today. We're recording this podcast in my home studio, and Kirk and I are sitting here with a cup of tea in our hands at my kitchen table, just really chitter-chattering about life, the universe, and everything. And the purpose of these podcasts, Kirk, really from the Chamber perspective, is to try and give people a bit more of an insight into what the Chamber is, what it does, what it's for. Hence why I call it the Chamber of Secrets, because as we discussed in episode 1 with Irene Keel, there's still an awful lot of people that don't know what the Chamber does. So this series of podcasts really is to help people understand. And you obviously, as a member of the Chamber as well as the president, and again, I'll stand up when I say that. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts of the Chamber. When you first joined, what you thought it was and what you thought it was for.
Yes, I mean, yes, I would definitely say Chamber membership brings so many benefits to any kind of business, whether it's a one-man business or well-established or a new starter. We joined the Chamber back in 2011, and that was a bit of a turning point for my company, AA Global, which was incidentally started in Worcester back in 1992.
Okay.
Now, we were at a time that we were growing. We had clients up north. This was to us up north, this lovely area that we're living in now. And I will open brackets. I lived in Hull since 2011. Okay. Now live in South Furby, and I do consider myself a Turkish-British Hullenasian.
Okay.
So that's, and I'm very proud to say that. Now we came to Hull and opened a small office, literally 2 desks, and it was just to serve our customers in this area and further north. Now, we didn't know how it was going to work, but one of the things that we did pretty much straight after coming to Hull was to join the Chamber.
Okay.
Now, by nature, because we're a translation company, we started working with the international department. At the time, there were some trade missions, which I feel are very important for any company for looking to grow. And we started getting involved more and more. And what we then found that a lot of people don't realize what sort of help the Chamber will give you. It's all very good to say, join us with the Chamber of Commerce, but what do you do?
What does that mean? Yes.
And I was talking to someone only recently, and I said, it's like any other membership. And I gave an example of a gym membership.
Okay.
I mean, you look at me and you'll see that I don't make most of my gym membership.
It's audio today, Kirk. Nobody needs to know that.
But basically, you get out what, you need to, what I'm trying to say is you need to make the most of any membership.
Sure.
By just joining the Chamber, you're not going to have some magical change. And we didn't. At AA Global, we started getting more and more involved, and we started finding out how the Chamber can help companies, how it can open doors, if you want to use a cliche, but it really does. It opened door for us. It opened quite a few doors for us.
That's good. That's good. And did you find, just as a matter of interest, that, and it's interesting that you say that you get out of any membership what you put in, and I guess what you find when you open one of those doors into the chamber is like-minded people. And so at the very least you are in and amongst a group of, a community of people, business people, really that have largely not the same problems, but similar, you know, and I guess that brings a degree of comfort from you as a business person, that at the very least you can share those stories with friends and colleagues within, and fellow members, and get some kind of sort of almost focus group going.
You're right. I mean, as you said, at the very least, you've got networking.
Yeah.
And networking really does. It doesn't have to be designed or structured in a very business way. By just talking, as you were just saying, with like-minded people, not necessarily from your same sector of business.
Yeah.
By just talking, by just getting together frequently, and finding out if they are actually finding the same difficulties as you are, or they may be talking about something that you haven't actually thought about. You will have ideas, you will get your ideas together, and you will learn from each other. You will help each other, you will collaborate, you will cooperate. So I think that's the very least you get out of a chamber membership.
Sure. But it's a great starting point, isn't it? And I think for anybody listening today that's wondering whether or not they should join, because I call this the Chamber of Secrets with my tongue firmly in my cheek, because I think it's a wonderful organisation, but it gets misconstrued, I think, at times. I think some people think it's a political organisation. Some people think, it is literally just somewhere to go and have lunch. It's that too, by the way, and very good lunches. But I think it's that piece that you've just identified, that you're in with a group of people that have got shared experience, lived experience of a lot of the issues that a lot of businesses have. And instead of trying to find somebody disconnected from your world to ask questions of, it's quite the opposite. You're already sitting in a room with like-minded people.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, no, it's not a political organization, but politics will come into it. Sure. Like in any case, if you're having a drink at the pub with your friends, politics will come into it. But basically, the main point here is that Chamber is an organization that brings together, in our case, for example, the largest number of businesses to have a solid voice.
Yeah. And
that voice is sometimes used to convey our message to the central government, maybe, but the important thing is it's around 2,000 businesses living in the same area, going through the same difficulties, having a strong voice.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that lobbying to central government is important, to have almost your ducks in a row, everybody lined up behind you to a certain extent. And of course, with our area, the Hull and Humber, there are a lot of people, from all over the world. You mentioned your Turkish heritage there at the beginning. Do you have any links, Turkish links in the Hull area at all? Family or contacts from back in the day?
I don't have family, but I have friends, obviously, and there is a Turkish community in Hull. They're lovely people, as you will find with Turkish communities anywhere in the UK. Most of them are engaged in hospitality or food businesses. Turkish kebabs, etc. But basically, there are quite a few Turkish people in business in Hull and Humber, and I obviously have quite strong links with them. I don't have any family. I'm the only one in the UK.
Okay.
My family are in business in Turkey. They're in textiles. And I am the black sheep of the family, if you like. I came and settled here.
Okay. Well, you say you have no family here, but of course this year, I understand, you got married. So at the very least, there's two of you to take on the world.
Yes, indeed, yes. I've plucked up the courage back in February on Valentine's Day and asked my long-suffering partner, Carol, and for some reason she said yes.
Well,
so we got married in August, and loving every minute of it.
You're an old romantic getting engaged. I love it. And I guess that my next question really was going to be how your first year as president has been. Well, that's obviously been the highlight, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a very difficult time for the business community since we weren't expecting a global pandemic. No. Then we've had a war. I'm not even going into Brexit. We could be here until the morning. And I knew it was going to be quite an interesting role. And I understood that it's one that's not to be taken lightly. It comes with a lot of responsibility, and I was humbled to be made president. And I hope I'm doing my best to be worthy of it. But it has been challenging, but it's also been very enjoyable, and I'm loving every day.
That's great, and that I think because it's a volunteer role, isn't it?
Yes.
So you are basically asking for trouble to a certain extent. But I think these organisations such as the Chamber, when they have a good, strong volunteer board that you are the head of, then really that helps to express the message back to the business community in a way that at the very least they might not like what you say, but they will respect what you say, and that's such an important commodity, isn't it? Respect.
Absolutely, and we are blessed with so many really experienced, really professional people who are, like you say, volunteering their time, coming and hearing us and giving their opinion on so many different aspects of chamber business and as a whole, as business in Holland Humber. So I think I appreciate their time. They are really great people, Chamber's full of them, and anyone who is looking to join the Chamber will also find that there is so much experience, such combined wealth of knowledge around to share.
Absolutely, and I know you get together quite regularly as a wide group. I'm just looking at my list here. There's been the Patrons Lunch, which was at the Guildhall. There was the AGM at the MKM Stadium. I'm guessing you got there just before Coldplay.
Yeah.
And of course the Big Chamber Expo at the Mercure Hotel. It says here you had over 1,000 attendees.
Yes.
I mean that tells you everything, doesn't it? That's the strength and power of the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. As we sit here tomorrow, we're meeting with the Governor of the Central Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, coming to visit us, and it's twice. It's his second time since he became governor, and this shows that we are really involved in exploring all areas to bring the best out of Holland Humber businesses.
Absolutely, and I note as well that you've got quite a lot of connections here with the military and the armed forces in terms of the
correct.
Yeah,
correct. Yes, they joined us at the expo this year, and we learned quite a lot from them as well. That was very good of them.
Of course, it's a very strong part of the world for military connections, not only with the army, but across Lincolnshire as well with the Royal Air Force. It dates back a long way.
Yeah.
I think it's lovely to be able to bring those organisations into the business world because they do tend to get treated in many ways in isolation and people don't understand it. One of the things that I found with my involvement with the Chamber and certainly with the Business Awards, which I particularly enjoy hosting every year, you may well remember my jacket from earlier on this year.
Of course I do.
I look forward to next year, Kirk. That's all I can say. But it does bring that community, that wide community together. And I think most people are surprised when they attend these major events, just how many people attend these major events.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned at the beginning about the awards night, and yes, I was quite apprehensive when I walked up on that stage because that was the largest number of people I've ever spoken in front of, and I hope it went well.
It did.
But it just shows you, even that event, there was over 400 people, close enough 500, representing so many different, varied businesses, from the smallest to the largest, but actually also representing and bringing to the table the talent that we have in this area. And that was amazing.
I think it's underestimated, actually. And what was interesting on that night, I had some guests there, and they were from the Crown Estate. Yeah. And the Crown are very much backing, certainly Grimsby as part of the renewable energy cluster around the Humber. And they walked into that room and were astonished just how many like-minded people were in there. And they were all dressed up to the nines, and they were all there to win prizes, and that's fine too. And everybody had a great time. But I do think it just indicates the strength of the business community, and more importantly, the place that the Chamber holds within that community. Yeah. And this is kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today, was really how somebody listening to this today, what would be your one piece of advice to them as a member and now also as president that they can get from the Chamber?
I would really say, as I mentioned, it helped my company grow. We started with 2 desks in our office in Hull. Soon we needed to move to bigger premises because we got up to 12 desks. Now we have 45 desks. Wow. So it's really helped with my company, and it can with anyone. But as I mentioned before, you need to really exhaust what it can do for you. You can always be told that, oh yes, we can help you with HR, we can help you with tax, we can help you with networking. There's much more you can get out of it by putting your time and just join to start with, and then discover what's there. I am definitely an example of how good it could be.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a great way of putting it, actually, because in some cases there's a great old Australian expression that I learned many years ago, and it was the Northern Territories of Australia were trying to market themselves as a tourist destination, right. And to as far as the world was concerned, it was a swamp. So so why would you go on holiday to a swamp? And the strapline to the advert was, if you never go, then you'll never know.
Absolutely.
And I used that all the way through my business career, just by, well, let's turn up and find out.
Absolutely.
And I think if, I know you have regular meetings and regular events that people can attend, and just almost come and get a taster and a feeling of what it's like to be in the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. That's obviously something that you did. There was one day you just walked through a door.
Absolutely.
And on the other side of it was the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, we are full of really nice and helpful people. We're very friendly. So yes, when you do walk through that door, you'll have no worries that you will be meeting nice people who will be helpful.
And hopefully beyond that door is no longer the Chamber of Secrets.
No, there won't be any secrets. No.
Kirk, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I think the last word should go to you, really today, as president. Again, I'm standing up as newlywed, and also about to, I guess, walk your daughter down the aisle next year as well. How proud a man will you be on that?
You are well informed. Yes, she is. Yes, she's getting married in March, and I'm looking forward to that as well. But I think my last word is, first of all, thank you very much. Very nice being here with you. For your hospitality. Also to everyone listening and wondering if they may benefit from Chamber membership. I don't want to sound like an advertisement, but it only starts from £99. You can do much worse to spend £99 on. Go and find out. We are the biggest business organization, and I think we will definitely prove that you will be in good company.
Kirk Akdemir, Mr. President, thank you very much for your time today. My name is Richard Askham. You've been listening to the Chamber of Secrets podcast. Let's call it that. And we look forward to seeing you somewhere soon. Thank you.